Big exciting news as you start your Saturday morning, your Catterday. Oh, meow. Looking for stimulus. Kitty gotta find your stimulus. Morris wants to look for that stimulus. Grumpy Cat wants that stimulus. All the cats and the litter and me are looking for that stimulus. Will we find it? Will the push for the executive orders be underway? Will the president wake up and sign the executive orders? It is Saturday. New poll numbers overnight suggest the president needs to move right now, and the Senate is in trouble of going Democratic. Is the push underway now? Are people going to wake up? Less than 2 weeks away from election night, a week away from Halloween. Is it going to be trick or is it going to be treat? This is Mornings LALATE. Hey, good morning, everyone. Hope you're good and safe. It's 8:30 a.m. here on the West Coast and 11:30 a.m. on the East Coast. It's a continuation of Mornings LALATE that started early before dawn at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with early Mornings LALATE. This is the bigger, more robust, more more coffee, less latte viewing experience of the morning. Go to the Phones channel, subscribe, because this is the best morning lineup there is. It's just incredible, and I really love this family. It's just a great family. Hope you got your toast toasting, your coffee brewing, your butter buttering, and your bacon grilling. If you didn't leave me any bacon with me, well, you're in trouble. Also, like this video. In this video, I will be following up that really jaw-dropping coverage from early Mornings LALATE that had the live chat, and I really did enjoy that in the instant premiere. Just a lot of fun every morning on early mornings with this video, and this predates the 28 broadcast coming up after this at 12 noon. New poll numbers released overnight. And boy, I'm going to have for you the most comprehensive poll numbers I've had ever on this channel for the Senate, for the House, and for the presidency, the likelihood of where they could go, and what that means for your stimulus, what that could mean for when, where, how much, how soon, the provisions, and more. Additionally, I will be going over what we do know about what Joe Biden wants to do as soon as he comes into office if he's elected, and how that impacts your stimulus. Third, I'll be going over new data as to whether Joe Biden understands the idea of deficit spending or not. And then I'll be going over reaction as we sit here this morning to the unfolding events of last night and yesterday. All right. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as we sit here this morning is that millions of Americans were lied to by Nancy Pelosi over the last 7 days, in which she said a deal was imminent. It was coming. There was a deadline. It was coming within 24 hours, 48 hours. Ultimately, nothing came. A new report that was a jaw-dropper that I detailed late last night and a little bit this morning from CNN said that Nancy Pelosi hadn't done much of anything over the last 7 days, hadn't written language, hadn't moved on deal points, hadn't done anything with her subcommittees, hadn't really done much of anything. And that the fake narrative that something was right in front of us, that we were right at the cusp of reaching a deal and putting it up for vote by law to make it a law, was simply categorically a false statement to the American people. So, as you sit here today, the renewed focus is on executive orders. It is on executive orders. We're not going to focus on negativity. It's too early. We'll leave negativity to the late night programming. It's just early mornings. If that coffee shot was not a hot mess to express, hot mess, I just knew that was almost like a Dumbo tongue twister. Hot mess espresso. I love that. If that hot mess espresso did not wake you up, then perhaps it's time for another shot, because the focus is on hashtag MSC. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you because we finally have become very aligned to understand that we are valued People have not told people this channel that they're valued, and I have been trying to impart that message in the last 8 hours, that I've seen what you have gone through, and no one is telling you that you're valued. To be told that you have endured a 6-month pandemic and you're going to be given a $500 stimulus check suggests you're not valued. Especially when people are talking about giving hundreds of billions of dollars to state and local and hundreds of billions of dollars to salary raises, and you're going to get $500 for 6 months of this pandemic. It makes you feel as though you have no value. You may have served this country as a veteran throughout your entire military career. You're retired now. You're on your son's tax return. You did not get a first stimulus check, and now you've been watching my coverage for months, and you're being told that Nancy Pelosi wants to give you a $500 check for 6 months. It makes you want to feel as though you're not valued. So we're going to change that. We're changing that. We're starting to change that right now. And one of the new focuses of this channel is to ensure that you understand you're valued. You, ma'am, and you, sir, are valued. And I'm going to make it very clear that you get every penny that you need and every penny that you're owed, because you're valued. It doesn't matter if there's a Democrat in Washington or a Republican in Washington. They're going to pay up. They're going to start paying up, and they're going to stop paying people that they don't need to be paying. The news overnight is that Joe Biden, if elected, when he comes in, would announce a $5 trillion plan. The $5 trillion plan would cover healthcare, infrastructure, education, climate change proposals, and would cost $5 trillion. Remember, how big is $5 trillion? Steve Mnuchin's last offer was $1.9 trillion. So this is, using a Larry Kudlow calculator, 1.9 times 2. Well, it's more than double Steve Mnuchin's thing, which in that only gives you a $1,200 stimulus check. And Joe Biden's $5 trillion proposal gives you zero to you. Just a lot of money for highways and a lot of money for school structures and school buildings and a lot of money for climate change. How much money is coming to you, Joe? How much money is coming to us, Joe? $5 trillion for all these things. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have to fix the potholes on the street. We all know we got to fix those potholes. I mean, I tripped was walking in here. That's why my hair looks so bad. But, we all know we have to fix potholes. But, what about fixing our pocketbooks first before we fix your potholes? How about fixing the holes in our pockets as we look for that stimulus check, which we can't find before we start fixing potholes? And that's where you ultimately look at this stuff and say, am I valued? Joe, am I valued? You want to spend $5 trillion as soon as you come into office. And let me explain what's also very clear about this message is that Biden is trying to set up, if he's elected, that the moment he comes in, he's going to start pushing through bills for big spending on this thing over there and this thing over there. And I don't want you to get excited, because a lot of those things mean not a penny going to you. Well, wait a second. We have to first pay us. We've been waiting a little while. This is like the soup guy on Seinfeld. It's like, no soup for you. I'm like, what do you mean no soup for me? I've been in line for a while. No soup for you. You go back there. Well, we feel like we're the customers at the soup guy. We've been waiting in line, and we're in the front of the line, and it's now time to pay up. And guess what? I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. Honest Abe, to quote the presidential debate. Honest Abe, I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. We're going to ensure you get every damn penny of your stimulus that you're friggin' owed, okay? That's the message we start this Saturday morning. Catterday. If they don't, then we're sicking Morris the cat on them. I hope you haven't declawed him yet, because that would be helpful. No, we're keeping it. No friskiness here. But we're going to get every single darn penny you're owed. These people think that you're not going to give you an MSC. They think they can give you a watered down stimulus check. They think they can give you a tiny little drip of this, and that you're going to be fine after you've waited since. Yeah, no. You have been owed a stimulus check since April. The pandemic hit in March, and at the time the pandemic hit, you knew and you were told that you were going to be on lockdown for 3 months. So the original CARES Act, the original first CARES Act, which is the only one of 2 bills that have ever concerned your money as opposed to big businesses' money, said you were going to get multiple stimulus checks. Well, these nincompoops took out the multiple stimulus checks at the final version of the bill and said, you know what, we will get to them later. because we have a lot of time and and we move really quickly and it's just around the corner and it's imminent. So they took it out and you got one check, or if you're an adult dependent, like a veteran, you didn't get a check. And then they said, you know what, now that May is around, people start asking, okay, what happened to our April check and where's our May check? We're working on it. And what did they work on? Well, Nancy Pelosi introduced the HEROES Act. And that is essentially the bill that we've been talking about since we first had better hair. And in May, the HEROES Act said one stimulus check. And we looked at it and we were like, what do you mean one stimulus check? Where's the April stimulus check? Okay, this is the May stimulus check. Where's the April stimulus check? And at that time we thought, okay, we'll let it slide. You missed one check. Just don't do it again. Well, they did do it again. They didn't pass anything in May, and they didn't just do a standalone bill in May after the entire country told them to do a standalone bill. And so what happened was you didn't see the check for April. You were expecting a check for May. You didn't see the check for May. Then you didn't see the check for June. Then they started going on vacations. One vacation, two vacations, three vacations. Started going on vacations. Your FPUC expired. Your rent eviction expired. Your mortgage forbearance expired. Your student loan debt expired. Everything expired in late July. And what did they do? They went on vacation. They were sipping that Mai Tai in the Tahitian resort, putting their feet up, singing, mo money, mo money. And it's like, okay, where's our money? And then they came back and said, we only have 1 week to work on this until October. We said, what? And now here we are in late October. And we look back and we thought, they really took us for a ride. These people really took us for a ride. And so as we sit here today, these are the following comments that we got overnight. Trump, I'd like to see the American people get the money. That's good. I'd like to see them too. How are you going to get them, the American people, the money? Trump continues, I don't think Nancy Pelosi wants the people to get the money before the election. I don't think that's a good point for her. I think that's true as well. Thank you, Captain Obvious. So what are you going to do about it? Do you hear anything? I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything. He simply repeats sort of the obvious. Nancy Pelosi doesn't want to give you money. Yeah, we sort of realize that. We haven't gotten the money yet. Thank you, Mr. President. And I don't think it's good for her. I agree. Okay, so what are you doing? Hello? Knock, 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 knock. Are you there, Mr. President? What are you doing? Then Mark Meadows overnight. We haven't seen a lot of action from Speaker Pelosi. Okay. Then the next part of the sentence. Most of the progress we've made have been concessions for the president has made. Amen. As you sit here in October, what's important to understand is that CNN article really exposed Nancy Pelosi for a real ball of wax. First, it said she wasn't writing anything. Second, it says her subcommittee members aren't doing anything. Third, it says that no one's actually, even in their offices or Zoom or electronically or digitally, doing any work on anything. Fourth, it says that she's really unmoved a single penny on anything since the month of July, from a point at which she had bad provisions and bad terms. In July, this is how much money Nancy Pelosi cost you. She cost you a stimulus check. She cost you $400 a week every week since every week since late July, since mid-July. Steve Mnuchin offered $400 a week for FPUC. How many weeks has it been since then? 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 15 weeks? It's been at least $4,000. She's cost you then $4,000 plus $1,200, plus she's cost you rent aid. He offered rent aid. So we're upwards of about $6,000 to $10,000 that Nancy Pelosi has cost you by being Nancy Pelosi, by not negotiating. And what's the reaction as we start a Saturday morning? Roy Blunt, Republican out of Missouri. I've never been optimistic about the lame duck, and I've never been surprised. You don't get near as much done as you think you're going to get done when referring to the period between election night and Inauguration Day. He says don't get ready or excited to seeing a lot of results during that period of time because it just doesn't happen. Chuck Grassley, Republican out of Iowa, which of course is a swing state. I think the Democrats would want to wait until the new president is sworn in and do it then. I think Republicans would say the economy's taken care of. Oh, okay, so that's a double-edged sword. First, Grassley is basically saying that He thinks that the Democrats want to wait to January. And Grassley says that could ultimately hurt the Democrats because the Republicans by January could say, hey, the economy is doing pretty well. I'm not going to give you any stimulus. And we could go from 20 Republicans saying, oh, no stimulus now, to all the Republicans saying no stimulus now. But that's based upon the latest poll numbers. The latest poll numbers, as we sit here this morning, are the following. I hope you're still with me because I have a lot of big details. There's an 80%, a new ABC poll released overnight reveals that the percentage of probability of certain events occurring. First, there's an 80% chance the Democrats will take the Senate. Repeat, an 80% chance the Democrats will take the Senate, that Mitch McConnell will no longer be Senate Majority Leader, but will become Senate Minority Leader. Second, there's an 87% chance, that's higher, of Biden winning the presidency. And finally, there's a 96% chance that the Democrats retain the House, which they already retain control of the House. Moreover, there's a 72% chance, this is much lower, that the Democrats control the White House, House of Representatives, and the Senate. They have done this before. They did this at the time in which Obama went to up for the presidency, his first time around. The first 2 years of the Obama administration were all Democrat-controlled in the House, White House, and the Senate. And you saw what happened from there. Progressively, it started to flip because Obama didn't get a lot of stuff passed after time. And then there's Joe Biden. What is Joe Biden going to do about spending if he came in? Well, a lot of people, like Representative AOC's former chief of staff, have brought up they're worried that established Democrats like Biden are sometimes misguided on economic matters like deficit spending, which is if he's talking about spending, $3 trillion on stimulus, that doesn't involve a lot of stimulus. It doesn't involve multiple stimulus checks, and $5 trillion on potholes, then I think it's probably going to get some ideological hang-up about how the deficit works and how deficit works and how taxes works. He just needs people around him who can shake up those free misconceptions, and that's the concern with Joe Biden vowing to raise your taxes. Is that message going to work or is it not going to work? Let me get to some of the incredible comments from last night. Tim Latham, Trump needs to do executive orders right now for the American citizens. Patrice Horning, we would have money in May and people wouldn't be homeless if Pelosi is not taking out our retroactive checks of the CARES Act. Louise, our poor seniors and veterans have never got anything yet at this point. They're most affected by COVID. They have PPP this whole time with no money fixed income. Push the executive orders. I love that comment. Suzette Walker, people don't give money to the states. We personally don't see any of it. Amen. Kevin Walker, we need seats for stimulus and everyone need to be relieved from office. Our president needs to put through executive orders so our economy doesn't die. Timmy, they need to do something. DJ, they didn't talk directly about one penny. On the other hand, you're absolutely glowing today, LALATE. Well, thank you. Ryan, just give the Americans the relief they need. Carrie and the people in the White House and Nancy and all they need to be voted out. Shanar, I can't imagine. Too much talk. Send out the check. Larry, she wears the pants in the White House correctly. Robin, I don't think anything will happen. Sudi, I'm not impressed with the debate on either side, referring to the presidential debate. Gary Hall, sorry, LALATE, but it's looking like it's going to be a problem before the election night. Felipe, it's a disgrace to have McConnell and Pelosi in charge of our nation. Carrie Olson, LALATE, still think you should run for president. You would at least get a bill accomplished. You would do a much better job. You're very intelligent. Heart, heart, heart. I really appreciate that. Bonnie Braden, Pelosi's pork needs to become the bacon for the American people. Oh my goodness. Great comment. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe. Subscribe because we're going to get through this together. I'm going to have more about these polls on 28. You see how these polls are really going to define where your stimulus is, because ultimately if the House goes one way, the Senate goes another way, you're going to see stimulus at a different time and a different amount, and yet we have to remain focused that we get a big enough stimulus. Also, like this video. Coming up is 28 at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay LA for more.